Joe, I know you said this morning that it's better than you guys saw it in terms of Kristaps' injury. Is there any chance we see him in this series?
I have no idea. I just know he's working every day to get back as fast as he can. Involved in all the meetings, film, shoot-around drills, and then doing what he can treatment-wise. So I'm not sure.
I know you talk about different identities, whether or not they're going to have Jared Allen on the Cleveland side or not. Do you notice a different identity with them when they're single big versus that double big they usually play with, and how are you guys preparing for that?
Yeah, they have more shooting, more space for those guys to work with. Yeah, only one big on the floor, so yeah.
Joe, what are the biggest coaching points of emphasis when it comes to what you have to do to have success against the Cavs in the series?
I mean, I think they're the same. Working the shot margin, taking care of the ball, rebounding, and then executing versus different coverages. I think, we talked about there'll be small, intricate things that you do once a game starts, but those things remain the same. Very important. And the team that plays the hardest usually wins. And so those things, attention to detail, toughness, effort, execution, those are the most important things.
When it comes to defending star players, how would you describe your general philosophy? Do you want to take those guys away and have the other guys beat you, or do you want to do vice versa?
There's no right answer there, and I think it all depends on how the game's going. You saw last night, Brunson had the ball inside of 3. The Pacers go double. They give up an open 3, and it goes in. So there's no right or wrong. There's no one way to do it. You have to have context of how the game is going, and you have to have an understanding of what's really beating you. I think when you get into those late game situations, it's a byproduct of the details not being paid attention to for the first 46 and a half minutes, and those put you in a bind. And so I think every game calls for something a little bit different. You have to be ready to potentially go to those things, but focus more on the things that you can control for 48 minutes.
Hey, Joe. With Kristaps out, for this game and beginning of this series, how much do you lean on Al Horford, his experience, and maybe what's his greatest strength, in terms of what he adds to this team?
Yeah, I mean, we have to rely on everybody. We've a bunch of guys that have been here before, and we've had games during the season without him to be able to establish those identities. But for Al, it's just his toughness, but his reliability. He's always available. He's always there. Both ends of the floor, has a clear understanding of execution, and just brings a level of toughness, as you saw in Game 5, on both ends of the floor for us. That's super important.
Joe, we're seeing defensive physicality kind of increasing. It seems like the officials are kind of letting more and more of that go as the playoffs go on. Do you welcome that, and how do you feel like that condition of a game affects your team?
I mean, I don't necessarily welcome it, but it is what it is. You just got to adapt to your environment. So at the end of the day, you just have to be ready to play with physicality on both ends of the floor and play without an expectation of, it's going to go a certain way. And so I think our guys have done a good job of that in the first series, and I think we'll be challenged even more against this Cavs team. We just got to be ready to handle it. But whatever the environment calls for, you just got to be ready to adapt.